My world flipped upside down when my husband, Rogan, suddenly vanished, leaving behind an enormous debt and no trace of his whereabouts. I frantically tried calling him, desperate for answers, but the silence on the other end of the line only deepened my dread. How could he do this to us? The weight of the situation bore down on me as I stared at the mountain of money owed. Paying it back seemed impossible, and the fear of what lay ahead was paralyzing. Yet, amidst the chaos, my daughter Kate's innocent laughter broke through like a ray of sunshine on a stormy day. Her joy reminded me I had to keep going, no matter what. At 35 years old, I juggled a part-time job and the responsibilities of running our home. We were once a family of 3, Rogan, Kate, and me. But now, it felt like the foundation of our lives had crumbled. I met Rogan at a party years ago. I was nervous and out of my element, but he eased my tension with his warm smile and kind words. We exchanged numbers that night, and soon enough, we were dating. When I shared the news with my sister Talia, her reaction was one of disbelief. You? At a party? And you met someone, she teased, shocked that I, the quiet one, had found love in such an unexpected place. Her surprise only grew when she saw Rogan's picture. He's handsome, she exclaimed, grinning at me. We laughed and caught up on life before parting ways, her single and content, and me brimming with excitement about my future with Rogan. I envisioned a life together, marriage, children, and shared dreams. It felt like a fairy tale waiting to unfold. And for a time, it did. Rogan proposed, and I'll never forget the rush of emotions when he slipped the ring onto my finger. We moved into a cozy apartment, filled with dreams and the scent of fresh beginnings. Those early days were magical, sharing meals, snuggling under blankets, and soaking in the bliss of each other's company. When our daughter Rhea was born, our joy overflowed. I left my job to embrace motherhood, and Rogan supported me every step of the way. But happiness has a way of slipping through your fingers when you least expect it. After Rhea's birth, Rogan made a shocking decision. He quit his job without consulting me. My boss was unbearable, he said, his voice tinged with frustration. While I sympathized with his struggles, I was furious he hadn't talked to me first. Our family depended on his income, and his vague assurances of finding something soon did little to ease my anxiety. He eventually found another job, and I allowed myself a moment of relief. But something about him had changed. He became distant, brushing off my questions about work with dismissive smiles. It's fine, he'd say, but I could sense the tension simmering beneath the surface. The night his anger erupted is etched into my memory. He came home, threw his bag onto the table, and lashed out at me, his voice louder than I'd ever heard it. You think you're better than me because you stay at home? He yelled, downing a glass of whiskey in one gulp. I was stunned, terrified. This wasn't the man I married. From then on, our lives became a roller coaster of uncertainty. Rogan cycled through jobs, each stint shorter than the last. Our once strong bond frayed with every passing argument. I tried to hold things together for Rhea's sake, but even her sweet, mature nature couldn't mend the growing rift. When I finally decided to work full-time, and trusting Rhea to Talia's care, it felt like a bittersweet step toward stability. Rhea thrived, making friends at kindergarten and blossoming into a thoughtful, composed child. Meanwhile, I poured my energy into my job, determined to secure a future for us. Years passed, and Rogan seemed to turn a corner. He found stable work, and the considerate man I once knew resurfaced. He played with Rhea, asked about my day, and even suggested buying a new car for the family. Could things really go back to how they were? For a moment, it felt like they might. We chose the car together, laughing and flipping through catalogs as a family. But the happiness was short-lived. Just months after the car arrived, Rogan disappeared, taking the brand new vehicle and any hope I had left. My phone buzzed, and my heart leapt. It was Rogan. "Where are you? What's going on?" I demanded, my voice trembling. The line crackled, and his response sent shivers down my spine. I had spent every day before that moment consumed by worry, each thought wrapped in anxiety. But when Rogan laughed at my concerns, dismissing them with a casual flick of his words, I was left breathless. "I found a new lover," he said, his voice flat. "She's more important to me than you." The words struck like a thunderclap, and I felt the ground beneath me shudder. Stunned. Devastated. I could barely process what was happening. "I've already taken care of the divorce notice," he continued coldly, as if he were discussing something trivial. "I'd appreciate it if you stopped getting involved." His voice echoed in my mind, repeating those cruel words. How had it all come to this? Then, just when I thought it couldn't get worse, he added in a voice devoid of emotion, "Oh, by the way, I have a debt. I'm counting on you to repay it." My heart stopped. "How much debt?" I managed to ask, my voice trembling. His answer hit me like a physical blow. "About $200,000, give or take. I'm leaving all the repayments to you." And then, before I could say another word, the line went dead. I couldn't fathom what I was hearing. His kindness, his smiles, were they all lies? The question swirled in my mind, and with each passing second, I felt the strength drain from my body. "Mom, what happened?" Ryer's concerned voice pulled me from my spiraling thoughts. I looked up, trying to smile, but inside, panic was taking hold. "It's okay, honey," I whispered, though every part of me screamed in fear. $200,000 looming over us, and that was only part of the nightmare. The car loan, the bills. How could we ever manage? I frantically searched everywhere, the closet, drawers, the kitchen, my bedroom, but my ATM card was nowhere to be found. It felt as though the world was closing in on me. Finally, I opened my bank app, only to find my account balance had plunged drastically. I couldn't remember withdrawing that money. The only person who could have done this was Rogan. I tried calling him, nothing. My mind was blank. All I could think about was earning enough to keep us afloat. I didn't want to worry Talia or Rhea, so I kept this secret from them, hoping to figure it out on my own. But then came the breaking point. A few weeks later, I passed out at work from the overwhelming stress. When I came to, I was in a hospital bed, disoriented and confused. "Where am I?" I mumbled, my thoughts scattered. "Kate, you're awake," Talia's voice cut through the haze, her face etched with concern. Rhea was beside her, her expression just as worried. They told me I had collapsed from the stress and needed to stay in the hospital for further tests. Hospitalized? What was I supposed to do now? As I lay there, feeling helpless, Talia and Rhea had a plan. "After you're discharged, let's talk about Rogan," Rhea said with a sudden seriousness. I was taken aback. How did she know the truth? As I prepared to leave the hospital, I feared Talia might be angry for me keeping things from her. But the truth was far worse than I had ever imagined. Tests revealed that my health had taken a dire turn. Cancer! Thankfully, it was still in its early stages, and surgery could offer a chance for recovery. But the financial burden, the mounting medical bills, and the debts, it all felt like too much. Without savings, returning to work seemed impossible. That's when Talia and Rhea became my lifelines, supporting me when everything else seemed to fall apart. When I explained the situation to Talia, her fury was palpable. She wasted no time trying to locate Rogan, determined to make him repay the debt and medical bills. but he had vanished without a trace. What do we do now? I asked, frustration flooding my voice. And that's when Talia came up with a brilliant idea. The car, that's under your name, right? Rogan has it. Let's try to get it back. I was skeptical. Is that even possible? I asked. Actually, yes, Talia said, her face lighting up with determination. I found out where Rogan's working. He's at a company inside the building where I work. I've seen him there before. I was stunned. This was our chance. Let's go right now, I said, eager for a confrontation. But Talia held me back. Don't rush. We need a solid plan, she cautioned. I nodded, trusting her judgment. Rhea smiled reassuringly, and I couldn't help but feel a surge of gratitude. What kind of plan were they working on? They wouldn't say, but I was about to find out. A month later, at Talia's house, the phone rang. It was Rogan. I almost didn't answer, but something inside me urged me to pick up. Help me out, please, his voice crackled through the line, frantic and desperate. I'll explain everything later. Just get here now. I'm about to be arrested. He quickly told me where he was, and the call ended. I stared at the phone, stunned. What had happened? Talia and Rhea were grinning. Finally, everything was coming together. We reported the car as stolen, Rhea revealed, her eyes sparkling. Impressive, right? She blushed slightly, as if proud of herself. My heart swelled with gratitude. They had outsmarted Rogan and his lies. We rushed to the park where Rogan was waiting, surrounded by police officers. I approached them, explained the situation, and soon, they were gone. Rogan ushered us into his car, and I saw the woman sitting next to him, a confident figure with cold eyes. Thanks for coming, Rogan said, still puzzled. But why did the police come? He didn't seem to grasp the gravity of the situation. Because the car's mine, I said, my voice steady. You're using it without permission. Talia added, and borrowing money under Kate's name is a crime. You've broken the law. Rogan fell silent, finally understanding the trap he was in. His mistress, Lily, sat there, unbothered. Is the baby really Rogan's? Talia asked her. Lily faltered for a moment but then shrugged it off. Of course, it is. The timing is just off, she stammered. Talia wasn't convinced, pressing her further until Lily finally admitted, the child isn't Rogan's. I thought about keeping it a secret, but dealing with him was too much trouble, so I'm just telling you. The tension was unbearable. Rogan stared at Lily in disbelief. What are you talking about? This is a joke, right? But Lily's expression was cold, unwavering. I mean exactly what I said, she replied, her voice cutting through the air. The atmosphere grew thick with lies and deceit. Talia, ever composed, took charge. I'll call the police, she declared. Rogan protested, but Talia was resolute. Using my name without permission? That's a crime. And using my car is too. She turned to me. Call them. And so, I did. The sirens soon wailed in the distance, and I felt a weight lifting off my shoulders. Justice was coming. Rogan and Lily didn't go to prison, but they were forced to face the consequences. Compensation payments, debt repayments, and child support, responsibilities they could no longer escape. They tried to fight it with lawyers, but the evidence was irrefutable. Thanks to Rhea's quick thinking and a recording she made, their claims were shot down. I couldn't help but marvel at Rhea's brilliance. I wondered about the TV shows Talia had exposed her to, sparking such cleverness. Now, Rhea and I live with Talia. The car was returned, and it seems Rogan is somehow managing the debt. But if he hadn't made those poor decisions, none of this would have happened. In the end, it was Talia and Rhea who guided me through this storm, and with their help, I'm determined to rebuild, to move forward, and to find peace once again.